You're about to give up. I can feel it. The pressure is crushing you. The silence is loud. The door looks closed. Stop. Don't you dare make a permanent decision in this temporary storm. This pain is not your ending. This battle is not your burial. Heaven is watching this moment. What you do next will shape your destiny. Before you quit, hear this. Before you quit, hear this. I stand before you today not to entertain you, not to impress you, not to speak sweet words that tickle your ears and leave your spirit empty. I stand here because someone among you is tired. Someone here is exhausted. Someone here has cried in secret. Someone here has smiled in public but broken in private. And today, you came with one thought hidden deep inside your heart. I can't continue. Before you quit, hear this. There is a difference between being tired and being finished. Many people think they are finished when they are only tired. Many people think the door is closed when it is only locked from the inside. Many people think God has left them when He is simply preparing them. Listen to me carefully. The darkest hour is not proof that the sun will not rise. It is proof that the sun is very close. You want to quit because it is hard. You want to quit because people misunderstood you. You want to quit because you prayed and nothing happened. You fasted and nothing changed. You believed and you still failed. And now you are asking, why should I continue? Let me tell you something. A seed buried in the ground does not look like progress. It looks like burial. It looks like the end. It looks like death. But that burial is the beginning of growth. If the seed could speak, it might say, why am I in darkness? Why am I alone? Why am I covered with dirt? It does not know that the pressure is necessary. It does not know that the darkness is protection. It does not know that the breaking is part of becoming. You are in a season that feels like burial, but it is preparation. Before you quit, hear this. Every great testimony begins with a test. Every great message begins with a mess. Every great victory begins with a battle. You cannot separate greatness from process. You cannot separate glory from pain. You want the crown, but you are running from the cross. You want the breakthrough, but you are avoiding the breaking. You want the promotion, but you are resisting the preparation. Listen to me. If you quit now, you will interrupt the process that is building you. You think the delay means denial. It does not. A delay is not a denial. A closed door is not a dead end. Sometimes it is divine redirection. Sometimes what you are crying about today is what you will thank God for tomorrow. You lost the job. You lost the relationship. You lost the opportunity. And you say, it is over. No, it is not over. It is shifting. What you call rejection may be protection. What you call failure may be instruction. What you call silence may be construction. Do you know why the storm is loud? Because it wants to convince you that it is stronger than you. But a storm does not last forever. It makes noise, it shakes things, it creates fear, but it passes. If you quit in the storm, you will never see the rainbow. Look at your neighbor. I want you to look at someone near you and tell them, don't quit now. Say it with conviction. Don't quit now. Because the enemy does not fight what is ordinary. He fights what is valuable. He attacks what has purpose. He challenges what carries destiny. The intensity of your battle is a clue to the magnitude of your assignment. You are under pressure because there is oil inside you. And oil is only released through crushing. The olive does not complain about the press. The olive understands that without the press, there is no oil. Without the oil, there is no value. You are being pressed not to destroy you, but to produce something in you. Before you quit, hear this. Your feelings are real, but they are not always true. You feel alone, but you are not alone. You feel forgotten, but you are not forgotten. You feel weak, but weakness is not your identity. Sometimes God allows you to reach the end of yourself so you can discover the beginning of Him. As long as you believe it is your strength, your wisdom, your connections, your ability, you will depend on yourself. But when everything is stripped away and you are left with nothing but faith. Then you discover a power that does not come from you. The breaking point is often the turning point. You say, I have tried, yes, but have you trusted? You say, I have worked, yes, but have you surrendered? There is a difference between effort and faith. Effort says, I will make it happen. Faith says, I believe even when I cannot see. Effort depends on sight. Faith depends on trust. When you are about to quit, it means you have reached the limit of your strength. Good. That is where grace begins. If quitting was the answer, it would bring you peace. But quitting brings regret. Quitting brings questions. Quitting brings, what if? Before you quit, ask yourself, is this pain permanent or is it seasonal? No season lasts forever. Winter does not argue with spring. It gives way. Night does not fight with morning. It surrenders. Your night is not permanent. You failed once. You failed twice. You failed 3 times. And now you want to define yourself by failure. But failure is an event, not a person. Failure is something that happens, not who you are. When a child falls while learning to walk, we do not say, you are not meant to walk. We lift the child. We encourage the child. We expect the child to try again. Why do you show yourself less mercy than you show a child? Before you quit, hear this. The very fact that you are still here means your story is not finished. If God wanted it to end, you would not be breathing. The breath in your lungs is proof that heaven is not done with you. There are people connected to your destiny who are waiting for you to survive this season. If you quit, you do not only affect yourself, you affect generations. Your pain has purpose. Your struggle has meaning. Your tears are not wasted. You see, people admire strength, but strength is built in secret places. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is refined in fire. The process is uncomfortable, but the result is valuable. You cannot pray for strength and expect comfort. Strength grows in resistance. I know you are tired. I know you are weary. I know you are confused. But tired does not mean defeated. Weary does not mean finished. Rest if you must, but do not quit. There is a difference between resting and resigning. Rest restores you. Quitting removes you. Some of you need rest, not surrender. Some of you need perspective, not escape. The problem with quitting is that it makes a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion. Emotions change. Situations change. Seasons change. But destiny remains. Before you quit, hear this. The pain you feel today is shaping the strength you need tomorrow. The tears you cry today are watering the seeds of your future. Do not judge your future by your present frustration. You may not understand the process, but trust the one who controls it. When a sculptor looks at a block of stone, others see nothing. The sculptor sees a masterpiece hidden inside, and he begins to chisel. Each strike looks destructive. Each hit looks painful. But he is not destroying the stone, he is revealing the art. You feel like life is chiseling you, but something beautiful is being revealed. Do not run from the chisel. Before you quit, remember why you started. Remember the fire you once had. Remember the dream that kept you awake at night. Remember the vision that made you believe you were created for more. Hardship does not cancel calling. If anything, hardship confirms it. You say, but I have prayed. Keep praying. I have believed. Keep believing. I have waited. Keep waiting. Waiting is not wasting. When you wait with faith, something is happening in the unseen. The farmer plants and waits. He does not dig up the seed every day to check if it is growing. He trusts the process. He trusts the soil. He trusts the season. Trust the process. Before you quit, hear this. You are closer than you think. Many people quit one step before breakthrough. They give up at the edge of victory because the pressure increases. The greatest resistance often comes before the greatest release. Do not interpret resistance as rejection. Sometimes the door is heavy because what is behind it is heavy with blessing. You are not weak because you struggle. You are human. And being human means facing battles. But battles do not define you, they develop you. Stand firm. If you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl, but move. Do not stay in the same place of defeat. Speak to yourself if no one else encourages you. Encourage yourself. Remind yourself of who you are and whose you are. Before you quit, ask yourself, what if tomorrow is different? What if the answer is on the way? What if the miracle is closer than you imagine? Would you want to miss it because you stopped one day too soon? No pain lasts forever. No storm remains forever. No night continues forever. And neither will this. So wipe your tears. Lift your head. Straighten your shoulders. You were not created to give up. You were created to overcome. Before you quit, hear this. Your story will not end in defeat. It will end in victory if you refuse to stop. The choice is yours. Quit or continue. And I pray you choose to continue. Quitting ends the story. Endurance writes the testimony. Listen to me carefully. Every life is a book already in motion. Every day you wake up, a new page turns. Every decision you make writes a sentence. Every challenge you face adds a paragraph. And when you stand at the edge of difficulty, when the pressure increases and your strength feels small, you are holding the pen over a very important line. That line will either read surrender or perseverance. That line will either close the chapter or deepen the narrative. Quitting ends the story. Endurance writes the testimony. When you quit, you freeze your life at the moment of pain. You allow one difficult season to define your entire identity. You allow one failure to speak louder than years of effort. You allow temporary emotion to become permanent conclusion. Quitting does not only stop the action, it stops the possibility. It shuts the door on what could have been. It seals the envelope before the message is complete. But endurance is different. Endurance says, I feel the weight, but I will carry it. Endurance says, I do not understand the process, but I trust there is purpose. Endurance says, I may be wounded, but I am not withdrawn. Endurance is not loud. It is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is a whisper that says, just one more step. Sometimes it is the decision to rise when your body wants to stay down. Many people misunderstand endurance. They think endurance means absence of pain. No, endurance means continuing in spite of pain. They think endurance means never crying. No, endurance sometimes cries through the night, but still shows up in the morning. They think endurance means strength without struggle. No, endurance is strength built through struggle. Look at the lives that inspire you. Look at the stories that move you. They are not stories of easy journeys. They are not tales of comfort and convenience. They are testimonies carved out of resistance. They are victories born from valleys. They are triumphs shaped by trials. Quitting would have erased those stories. The athlete who trained in obscurity, the entrepreneur who failed multiple times, the student who studied while doubting, the parent who sacrificed silently, if they had quit at the first sign of exhaustion, their narrative would have ended in an unfinished chapter. But they endured, and because they endured, their pain became platform. Their struggle became strength. Their scars became symbols. When you quit, you give your obstacle the final word. When you endure, you reserve the final word for growth. There is something powerful about staying. Staying when others leave. Staying when it is uncomfortable. Staying when it is inconvenient. Staying when applause fades and silence grows. The world celebrates beginnings, but heaven often celebrates continuation. Anyone can start when excitement is high. Few can continue when excitement is gone. Quitting is often driven by emotion. Emotion is real, but it shifts. Today you feel discouraged, tomorrow you may feel determined. Today you feel rejected, tomorrow you may feel redirected. If you make a permanent decision in a temporary emotional storm, you will regret it when the weather clears. Endurance waits for clarity. Endurance breathes before reacting. Endurance refuses to let a moment dictate a lifetime. Understand this: every challenge carries two voices. One voice whispers, stop. This is too much. The other voice whispers, grow. This is shaping you. The voice you listen to determines the direction you take. Quitting listens to fear. Endurance listens to purpose. Purpose does not disappear because you are tired. Destiny does not resign because you are discouraged. Calling does not cancel itself because circumstances are complicated. The assignment remains even when the atmosphere is heavy. Quitting reduces you to your circumstance. Endurance reminds you of your identity. You are not defined by what you face. You are defined by how you respond. Anyone can react. Few can respond with resilience. Anyone can complain. Few can continue with conviction. Anyone can retreat. Few can rise again. Endurance is not glamorous. It does not always receive applause. Sometimes no one sees it. Sometimes no one acknowledges it. Sometimes you endure in silence, with no audience and no recognition. But unseen endurance builds unshakable character. Character is not formed in comfort. Character is formed in continuation. Character is formed when quitting is easier, but you choose to continue anyway. Imagine a sculptor chiseling a block of stone. Each strike looks harsh. Each blow seems destructive. If the stone could speak, it might beg the sculptor to stop. But if the sculptor stops, the masterpiece remains hidden. It is the continued chiseling that reveals beauty. It is the sustained pressure that produces shape. Your life is being shaped by what you endure. Quitting interrupts transformation. Endurance completes it. There are moments when endurance feels like weakness because it is slow. It does not produce instant results. It does not give immediate reward. But slow growth is still growth. Quiet progress is still progress. Invisible change is still change. The seed underground looks inactive, but roots are forming. The caterpillar inside the cocoon looks still, but wings are developing. If the process is interrupted, the potential is never realized. The transformation requires time. The transformation requires endurance. You may not see the roots yet. You may not see the wings yet. But that does not mean they are not forming. Quitting says, because I cannot see it, it is not happening. Endurance says, even if I cannot see it, I believe something is happening. Faith and endurance walk together. Faith gives vision, endurance gives persistence. Faith sees the possibility, endurance survives the process. Without endurance, faith remains a dream. Without endurance, vision remains an idea. Endurance turns belief into reality. Consider how many people stopped too soon. How many relationships ended before understanding could grow. How many careers ended before skill matured. How many dreams died before opportunity arrived. Not because the dream was impossible, but because the dream required more patience than they were willing to give. Patience is not passive. It is active trust. It is steady movement without panic. It is refusing to let impatience sabotage promise. Quitting seeks relief. Endurance seeks result. Relief feels good in the moment, but result brings fulfillment in the long term. Relief removes discomfort. Result produces impact. If you choose relief over result, you trade potential for temporary ease. There is a difference between stepping back to rest and stepping back to resign. Rest is strategic. Resignation is surrender. Rest renews strength so you can continue. Quitting abandons the journey entirely. Sometimes endurance means adjusting your pace, not abandoning your path. Sometimes it means changing strategy, not changing destiny. Sometimes it means seeking help, not surrendering hope. Endurance is flexible but firm. It adapts without collapsing. It bends without breaking. Every testimony you admire was once a situation that could have ended in defeat. Every success story was once a fragile beginning. Every leader was once uncertain. Every champion was once inexperienced. The difference is not the absence of difficulty, it is the presence of endurance. Quitting tells a short story. Endurance writes a long one. Short stories may end quickly, but long stories carry depth. They carry lessons. They carry growth. They carry redemption. The longer the struggle, the richer the testimony. The deeper the valley, the greater the gratitude for the mountain. You cannot appreciate victory if you have never endured conflict. You cannot value light if you have never walked through darkness. You cannot celebrate healing if you have never experienced pain. Endurance gives context to celebration. When you endure, you gain perspective. You understand that feelings change. You understand that setbacks teach. You understand that losses refine. You begin to see obstacles as instructors instead of enemies. Quitting avoids the lesson. Endurance learns from it. Pain is a teacher. Failure is a mentor. Rejection is a guide. They do not come to destroy you. They come to instruct you. If you quit the classroom too soon, you miss the wisdom. If you endure the lesson, you graduate stronger. Life does not always move according to your timeline. Dreams do not always unfold according to your schedule. But delay is not useless. Delay often deepens preparation. Delay builds maturity. Delay tests commitment. If you quit because it is taking longer than expected, you reveal that your commitment was conditional. Endurance proves that your commitment is anchored in conviction, not convenience. Convenience fades. Conviction sustains. When applause is loud, it is easy to continue. When encouragement is constant, it is easy to move forward. But what about when silence surrounds you? What about when no one understands you? What about when support seems distant? That is where endurance proves its power. Endurance does not depend on applause. It depends on inner assurance. It does not rely on crowd approval. It relies on personal resolve. Resolve is the decision that quitting is not an option. You may adjust. You may rethink. You may refine. But you do not retreat from your core purpose. You do not surrender your calling because of discomfort. You do not abandon your dream because of delay. Quitting magnifies obstacles. Endurance magnifies vision. What you focus on grows. If you focus on the difficulty, it becomes heavier. If you focus on the destination, the difficulty becomes a bridge instead of a barrier. Endurance keeps your eyes forward. It reminds you that this chapter is not the entire book. It reminds you that storms pass. It reminds you that strength increases with use. Muscles grow through resistance. Character grows through challenge. Wisdom grows through experience. None of these develop in ease. They require pressure. They require repetition. They require continuation. If you quit at the first sign of resistance, you prevent growth. If you endure, you expand capacity. Capacity is the ability to handle more. The more you endure, the more you can carry. The more you can carry, the greater your impact. The greater your impact, the stronger your testimony. A testimony is not just a story of survival. It is a story of transformation. It is not simply about making it through. It is about becoming something new in the process. Endurance transforms you. You begin as someone uncertain, and you emerge confident. You begin fragile, and you emerge firm. You begin doubting, and you emerge assured. The process changes you. Quitting keeps you in your initial state. Endurance elevates you to a refined version of yourself. There will be moments when quitting seems logical, when statistics discourage you, when opinions mock you, when circumstances contradict you. Logic may say, stop. Fear may say, retreat. Doubt may say, you are not enough. But endurance listens to a deeper voice. It listens to purpose. It listens to calling. It listens to that quiet conviction that says, continue. That voice is not always loud. It may not shout over the noise of fear, but it is steady. It is persistent. It is faithful. Endurance strengthens that voice. Each time you refuse to quit, you train your spirit to withstand pressure. Each time you rise again, you reinforce resilience. Each time you choose perseverance over surrender, you build confidence that cannot be easily shaken. Confidence built through endurance is different from confidence built through ease. It is rooted. It is tested. It is unmovable. Quitting seeks escape. Endurance seeks evolution. Escape avoids discomfort but forfeits growth. Evolution embraces challenge and becomes stronger because of it. Your life is not meant to be a series of escapes. It is meant to be a journey of evolution. Evolution requires endurance. When the night feels long and the future feels uncertain, remember that time moves forward whether you quit or continue. The difference is what time produces in you. If you quit, time may bring regret. If you endure, time will bring development. Regret whispers, if only I had tried again. Development declares, I am stronger because I did not give up. Regret revisits the past. Development prepares you for the future. You are not meant to live revisiting what could have been. You are meant to live realizing what can be. Quitting ends the story at the point of pain. Endurance writes the testimony through the pain, beyond the pain, and into purpose.